This conference will now be recorded.
Hi, thanks for joining us today. My name is Douglas Fraser, Program Director at UNLV in Las Vegas for the Acute Care Fellowship. And just wanted to give you guys a brief tutorial on the Caselog system as well as our spreadsheet that we are putting out for fellows to use to help track and guide the amount of cases we're doing and help with accreditation of our fellowships and maintaining our skills. This website will be available at the AAST, as you know, and we'll be sending out this spreadsheet. One of the first things when you get the spreadsheet, you want to download it and save it to a desktop. You'd want to come up here and place your name into the box and go ahead and be able to save this, as this is not going to be a web-based spreadsheet. When you go through, we're going to basically, after each case that you do, a good practice is perhaps even in the recovery room to log in and make that part of your order set, because I know trying to save up these cases for one weekend before graduation is not going to be anything feasible. So we'd like you to try to log these as you go. The identifier here, so you just place your patient medical record number into the date, and then you type in today's date. And then you're going to go ahead and select of what type of case you did. So for something simple here, we can, went ahead and performed a splenectomy. And this will give you underneath the drop down options here on these arrows, you click them, and then you can find down and find spleen for your splenectomy. Now, if there's other procedures and things you did during this case, you'd be able to go to each individual column and click on those and actually be able to find additional things that we're tracking, such as you did your FAST that was positive in the trauma bay with hypotension and went right to the OR. So you have a positive FAST, and you'd be able to include some of these things. There's a feature here, trying to find out the different procedures. You could try searching up here. However, these are all hidden in drop downs. So a useful tool here would be the formula sheet. And this gives you everything that is available in all the drop down menus. So if you were trying to, let's say, find central line for placement, and you went to search and that's not available there, maybe another term we might use, central venous line. And then you'll see that it is listed under ultrasound, if it was ultrasound guided or not, to be able to log that procedure there. So just a little tidbit there for search function. This page here is going to show you all of the required elements for your fellowship and the ones that you've completed thus far and the ones that you need to complete. So you see for this one here, we had the splenectomy that I performed, and we had one completed with the 2 being totaled. And we have 1 to go in the red column. A nice feature that was developed is if you have trying to keep track and looking at all your cases. So if you did an additional case, the next day, and you had another splenectomy that you were performing, and you went back here and noted that you had the splenectomy, then coming back to this formula sheet, or to the, total sheet, it shows you in green now you've done all your splenectomies that are required. So obviously the goal being turning all of these down into a green color at the completion of your fellowship. Going in through here, again, pretty straightforward. I would save this spreadsheet to your desktop and try to do this as often as possible. And able to email it to yourself, or however your hospital policies are for access to the web and being able to preserve that. As far as the instructions on this will be available in a typed fashion with the spreadsheet when we send these out to all the fellows. If you need any additional information about this, you can email the AAST and Bridget Lindbergh about this. The other step after this portion here will be to go ahead and access and enter your cases into the Caselog system. That is the web-based system that you're familiar with, that you've been doing. So that's the last step there, which brings us up to the AAST Caselog system. Now, this system here has been modified quite a bit, going back from quite a few years ago. Still trying to acquire as much data as possible, but again, we know it's tedious. We know it can be a lot of work to try to log these cases, but in the end, this is what's going to keep our accreditations going and the fellowships going. So for that same type of case, we're going to go ahead and say here we had an emergent case. The case type here is going to be a trauma case that we did, patient medical record number, same one that we did before, and the same date. You can click the red today's date. There's a simulator option here. It's not required, but we have some things that you'll do in an acid course or other options like a lateral canthotomy that you're not meant to do every day. They can be done in a course, and you can track those. Degree of difficulty, we're going to say it's pretty routine, straightforward. Splenectomy, patient post-op did require the ICU. So now there's two options here, whether you want to enter in the CPT code or the body region. Now, the best way to do this is to go through the body region. So you'd go to your abdominal portion. Then we did a regular laparotomy here. And the organ that we were removing was your spleen. And the procedure that we performed, it gives you one option there for splenectomy or splinorrhaphy. Once that's present there, the CPT code for that, move the screen up, is going to be 38100. So the one portion that you could, as you get facile in using this, and as all the fellows are doing and memorizing the CPT codes, that would be one way to directly just punch that in. However, we do have a known issue about being able to track your exposures and incisions. And when you enter the CPT code directly, it does not track the exposure and incision, which becomes sometimes an issue for tracking your thoracotomies or sternotomies and trying to get those numbers up for graduation. So this spleen was completely shattered. And then if we were going to add another body region here, you can do that. And then again, you can probably enter in here another procedure that you performed, perhaps a thoracotomy even at that time. So the thoracotomy CPT code, just memorizing 32110 and trying to, now if you hit enter on this, it will submit the case down here. It's like it, so I just clicked off to the side and this generated up thoracotomy. So as you'll see, the one thing missing from this by entering in a CPT fashion is this portion up here, exposure and incision. You'll notice here that there is no exposure and incision listed, and that's one of the points in the data set that we're missing. So when you generate these reports, you might have a discrepancy in the number of thoracotomy incisions you have versus the number of cases you've done for lung removal or something. So again, the one showed you will track for thoracic, it will track for lung and lung parenchyma as the body region and procedure, getting in for your thoracotomy, which tracks here. This is a known issue with IT, and we're working to resolve that. So in the meantime, I think the best approach is to do the drop down. If you do want to add other elements to this, you can. There's a tab here, CPT terminology and coding does not appropriately define everything. So if you wanted to make another note as far as chest tube placement and anything else additional on that procedure or tracheotomy that was done, you can do that. The other option is to, and once you could do that, you could just submit your case, and the submission was successful, and you can click OK. There's other ways to consider, as far as your time frame of logging these cases, but we really want you to try to log them at the completion of your day if you can, or get in a habit of doing it right after the case. Just makes for logging 1 or 2 or 3 cases a day is a lot easier than trying to log 40 or 50 at the end of a quarter. And we'll like to generate these reports and get back to you and improve the fellowships by tracking what we're doing. Additionally, if there's other concerns, please email Bridget Lindblom at the AAST and any other feedback or tips, and we'll have an update webinar session in order to provide better feedback. And this is a work in progress, and we really truly appreciate all of the fellows doing their best job, taking great care of patients, and then logging these cases to show all their hard work. So thank you very much for joining us, and please email the AAST with further feedback or questions.